Hello, and in this term's classes we're going to have a look at the elements, starting with the element of earth, and we'll be progressing through each element, so water, fire, air and then ether, and just looking at the qualities of these elements and how we can bring those qualities into our yoga practice. So if you'd like to lie down on the floor on your back, and today just we're focusing on the element of earth, so we can think of the floor beneath us as the earth and allow your body to settle there on the earth. And as you're settling down, you're just contemplating the qualities of the element of earth and what that might bring into our yoga practice. So when we think of the element of earth, we might have words that come up like feeling grounded, feeling rooted, feeling steady, stable, secure. And these kind of qualities we can notice in our yoga practice so that we feel stable physically, but also mentally we feel stable and we know how to ground ourselves when we need to. So as you're lying here, let the earth support you now. Feel your body weight just sinking down. And take a little time here to let your body settle and notice, do you feel comfortable? And of course you can always make changes. You might have to bend the knees or place something under the head like a yoga block or a cushion. And then once you've really found that comfortable place, just allow your body to settle. Just let go as much as you can at this moment. And feel how your body is in contact with the earth. So we often think of nature as something that's separate from us, but in fact, we are nature. So we look at these qualities within us, these qualities of the elements within us. And we're feeling this body of ours, the musculoskeletal system would be associated with the element of earth. And we're feeling how this body of ours is just resting. And through these classes, we will also be focusing on bringing the mind present. So when we focus on the qualities of the earth here, you're bringing the mind present, noticing the sensations, and noticing how the sensations might change over time. And there's nowhere else to be. We're not trying to anticipate what's coming next. There's no aim to achieve anything. We're just bringing the attention here to our bodies lying on the floor. And feeling the earth supporting us. Contemplating even our relationship with the earth. Sometimes we take what the earth provides for us for granted. So the earth will give us food, shelter, and provide us with our material needs. So as we bear this in mind, we find a gratitude for earth, for the earth, and for what it provides for us. Now begin to sense your breath and just allow the breath to flow gently in and out through the nose. And if there's any areas in the body where we still feel like we can't let go, we're still holding on, just take the breath to that area as though you're breathing into the area. Maybe it's your shoulders, your arms, or legs. And imagine that part of the body is just releasing and sinking and softening into the floor. And this might take a little while just to bring the attention present and to notice the different parts of the body. But there's no rush. Sinking and releasing. And then when you feel ready, we're going to bring the feet to the floor and just bending the knees. So we're going to start moving the joints and moving the body. And we're going to take some time to just focus on the feet, the ankles, because most of the time, you know, the feet is in contact with the earth. That's the part of the body that's often the most in contact with the earth. So we're going to take time to really feel and sense the feet. And we can start by just taking hold of your right knee, and we're going to just flex and extend the toes. So just flexing and extending the toes, and just see how that feels in the toe joints. And it's a very simple movement, but just notice, are you actually moving the toes, or is it your foot that's moving? We'll get to that in a moment, but if you can just let the toes move and keep the foot still. So we can really zoom in, take our attention to the toe joints. You can feel what's going on in the toe joints, but also to the muscles that will be actually moving the toes. All right, now leave the toes and take the attention into the ankle, and you're going to point the foot up and down, or dorsiflex and plantarflex. And again, you can notice the feeling in the ankle, but also sensing the muscles that are involved in this in the lower leg. And then try circling the foot. Not too fast, take your time. Really giving your feet this attention. And going the other way, so feeling what's going on in your ankle. Trying to notice how well you can actually draw a circle. So imagine if you're drawing a circle with your big toe, how circular is that? You know, is it actually a circle, or maybe it's like a square or something? I'm trying to smooth it out, but again, feel it. You can feel the muscles involved, and they can get tired pretty easily doing that. So just stop when you need to. Let's take the hands. You can interlock the fingers behind the thighs, sliding the hand down a little bit towards your right buttock, and then going to just straighten the leg and bend the knee. So just getting the awareness into the knee joint, noticing the muscles that are extending the knee, and really feeling that, so keeping that attention present. Just with simple movements. A yoga practice doesn't have to be complicated. And especially if we don't have a regular practice, then just doing things like these joint free movements could be something to start with, you know. Keep the foot lifted, take the hands away, and if you can, you straighten out the left leg, and then we're going to take the right knee around in a circle. So it's like you're drawing a circle above you with your knee. And you'll get a nice big circular movement at the hip called circumduction. But maybe if that doesn't feel comfortable, you can always keep the other foot on the floor and make a smaller circle at the knee. All right, so go the other way now. Yeah, that's good. See how that feels. Notice how your pelvis is moving with that. That's nice. All right, good. And then let's bring the foot to the floor. And so it's your right foot on the floor, right knee bent, and the left leg is out straight now. We're going to let the right knee tip to the right, just gently lowering out. Notice how the pelvis will tip a little bit to the right. Then draw the knee back up and take the knee over to the left. And then back up and over to the right. Okay, and just see how that goes. Notice how your pelvis turns a little bit with this. Feeling what's going on in the hip, but also sensing where your body is touching the floor or the earth beneath you. Sensing that rolling across the pelvis. Now bring the foot back to center, so the knees pointing up toward the ceiling. And then this time we're going to see if we can just let the pelvis turn to the left, but without letting the knee tip to the left. So just see what happens. You're going to try and turn the pelvis to the left without letting the knee shift over to the left or the right. The knee stays still and then release back to center. Now try it again. Turn the pelvis to the left and maybe even go as far as you can and then hold it there. Notice how you might feel some weight going through your right heel. So can you feel that? And then let that release. So turn the pelvis to the left again, but at the same time, can you push the foot into the floor? That's going to make those glute muscles activate a little bit more and allow the hip to lift and externally rotate. And the left hip stays nice and relaxed. And you come back to center and you just repeat this a few times. Maybe the head rolls a little bit. Keeping the knee central. It's as though the knee is moving forward towards the end of your mat. Or like imagine someone's got your hand pressing against your knee and you're trying to push your knee into their hand. Yeah, and the pelvis just rolls. It's a really nice movement to get those glute muscles working and some of the external rotators in the area of the hip working, and getting some nice movement into the hip joint. So we're taking those joints through a range of movement using various muscles to do that. Now straighten out that leg. Let's see how the two legs compare. They might feel quite different. Take time. Again, we're not in a rush. So we're not in a rush. We're just present, keeping ourselves here by noticing more and more subtle sensations. And as our yoga practice progresses, we start to notice more and more subtle sensations. So in that sense, we're not striving for big, strong, tugging sensations. We're just noticing there's a lot going on even without those really strong movements. So let's do that on the other side. Bring both feet to the floor. We'll take hold of the left knee and flex and extend the toes. Again, keep the foot still. And of course, we're breathing. So, notice your breath. No particular way to breathe. You might link the movement of the toes with the breath if you wanted to, or just do the movement and breathe. But obviously, keep the breath flowing. Now take the movement into the ankle, dorsiflex, plantar flex. And then circle the foot. Feeling again the muscles in the lower leg that are working to do that. And then go the other way. Nice. And then take hold behind the thigh. And again, if this restricts your movement in the leg, take the hands away, even taking the leg a little bit further away from you as you bend the knee and straighten the leg. Like this. Okay, good. Just a few times. All right. Then bending the knee, keep the foot lifted. You can take the right foot a bit wider, or even straighten out the right leg, and then take the left knee round in a circle. Again, you can start off small or go a little bit bigger if that feels comfortable. And of course, we're always sensing how we feel. So you will receive various instructions, do this, do that. So now go the other way. And that's, it's a top-down approach. You need some instruction, but then you balance that off with how do you feel. So it's like you refine those instructions a little bit with adjusting for yourself according to how you feel. Okay, now bring the foot to the floor. And then let's let the left knee tip to the left, back up, and then to the right, and back up. And just feeling not too fast here, and without dropping the knee to the side. So it's like we're lowering, lengthening through those inner thigh muscles, and then they contract and draw back up. And then taking the knee the other way. Nice. And then come back to center. So we're going to see if we can now let the pelvis turn to the right, but remember to keep the knee still. So the knee stays upright, but the knee actually will feel like it's moving forward toward the end of the mat. So you can roll the pelvis to the right, feel the weight go into that left foot, the knee pressing forward and then releasing. And hopefully your back muscles stay quite soft as you do this. You're not using your back. Your right buttock is relaxed. And actually when you just use your glute muscles here, your abdomen and the muscles around the abdomen stay soft as well. Okay, let's do it one more time. That's nice, and let the legs straighten out for a moment. See how both legs feel now. So we've got some good awareness there in the feet and the ankles and the legs. So from there, let's bring both feet to the floor. So let's try and find some balance through the feet now in our bridge pose. So at this point, I don't know how cold it is in your room where you're doing this. Hopefully nice and warm. It's a little bit chilly here. It should heat up hopefully. But you might want to take your socks off. So get the socks out of the way. And we're going to go into our bridge pose. So here you won't want anything under the head. You can either have the arms down by the side, or maybe the arms are comfortable out behind you. And that ideally, if they are behind you, your arms are just comfortably resting on the floor. So the elbows might be bent a little bit. The back of the neck is just in a neutral position, so nothing under the head here. You might find we have to adjust the position of the feet, but roughly feet about hip width, not too far away, not too close in. And then when you're ready, you're going to start to just push into your feet. Push the feet into the floor and let the hips lift a little bit. And then come down. That's it. And then push the feet into the floor. So notice how as you do that, your tailbone tucks, the pelvis starts to lift, the spine starts to lift away. Go quite slowly here. Let's just do this nice and slowly. Just keep the breath flowing. And feel what's going on in your feet. So as you push the feet into the floor, are you pushing evenly through left and right feet? Or is there more weight on one foot or the other? In fact, you could play about with that a little bit by lifting, pushing into both feet, and then pressing more firmly into the right foot, and then more firmly into the left foot. Notice how your pelvis will just turn a little bit. In fact, that's quite a nice thing to do. And feel what's going on in the feet as you do that. And in the waist, notice what the waist is doing here. Nice rotation. Great, and then lower back down. And then another thing to check when we go into bridge pose, we might roll to the outer edges of the feet. Or maybe we drop in, but it's more common to roll to the outer edges. So when you lift, try and notice 3 points in the feet. So you can just lift your toes for a moment. So keep the balls of the toes on the floor, just raise the toes up, and notice you can feel the ball of the big toe on the floor there. So we're going to try and also you might feel the centre of the heels there. So you're going to bring the feet down. We're going to try and press into the centre of the heels, the ball of the big toe and the ball of the little toe. So fairly evenly, but probably actually 50% of the weight goes down through the heel, and then a little bit spread up into the balls of the feet. And we're not rolling to the outer edge or the inner edge. And then you come back down. And of course, as you're doing that movement, you can feel what's going on in the spine. It's a lovely kind of segmental movement. And each time you do it, you might find you're just going a little bit higher. So it's not a struggle. Let's do one more there. All right, and then coming down, take the arms wide down, and we'll just finish our floor sequence here by going into a gentle rotation. So from there you can just take the knees to the right and head turns to the left. So feet stay about hip width, and then you can come back to center, and then knees to the left and head turns to the right. And just breathe as you need to. So notice here, keep that awareness present by sensing where your body meets the floor. So sense the rolling of the pelvis, the rolling of the head, and the rolling of the feet, the back of the chest as well. Last one now. Okay, and then just let yourself roll all the way over to one side. Push yourself up. And just before we go up to standing, let's just get a little bit more awareness into the feet. Actually, before standing, we'll be on all fours anyway. So if you just take one foot, and you can just, however you can grab your foot, maybe sitting cross-legged, if you can manage that, or just have one foot in front of you, and you're just going to take the fingers into the bottom of the feet, just pressing, massaging, rubbing, if you want, rub the feet, that's nice as well. Just try and get some awareness there, so really stimulating the feet. Try and go right up to the base of the toes, press around there, see what that feels like. Sometimes there might be tender spots. Wriggle the toes a little bit. Take each toe, give it a little twist. Really wake up your awareness of the feet. Even making a little fist and just hitting the bottom of the foot there. Okay, and then a little bit more rubbing. This is obviously great if you can get someone else to massage your feet, but anyway, we can do it ourselves. And if you bring just both feet onto the floor, just from that, close the eyes, just lean back on the hands and just notice any difference in the 2 feet. So it might feel a bit different. My left one feels a bit softer, a bit more awake. So let's try that on the other side. So it's the other foot, whichever one you're working on, just start to press around, massage around the bottom of the foot. Just intuitively, just from what you feel. Really getting that up right to the base of the toes, right down to the heel, the arches. Actually, you've got 3 arches in your feet. So if you think from the center of the heel to the ball of the big toe, that's your the inner arch, the medial arch. And then you've got from the ball of the big toe to the ball of the little toe, the transverse arch, and then the lateral arch from the ball of the little toe to the center of the heel. But with the outer arch, you might feel it, but underneath there is a bit of muscle, so you can't always see an arch there, whereas on the inside of the foot you can see it more clearly. Get some movement into the toes, And the arches are there to give us that kind of springiness in the foot, you know, shock absorbers. Amazing designs, really. So, okay, so once you've done that, maybe a little bit of rubbing, a little bit of hitting. Bring both feet to the floor. See how they feel now, compare the feet. Yeah, okay. So if you're sitting with the feet like this, you might feel now that the feet feel a bit more evened off, or maybe we're more aware of both feet. All right, so just taking a comfortable seat for a moment. So whichever seated position you want to be in, just to get some movement into the wrists, hands and fingers. So you're taking the hands out in front of you, and we'll just extend the fingers and then make fists. So just extending and making fists. So just bringing that awareness into the fingers, but also the muscles that are involved. And then into the wrists. So flexing and extending the wrists. And then you might like to do side to side movement. And then circling, you might make fists there and circle. Yeah, really feel what's going on there, feel the muscles again, go the other way. And then shake it up. You shake out the arms, shake out the hands. And then bring the fingertips to the shoulders. Let's get a few big circles there. Inhaling elbows wide, exhaling elbows in towards each other. Feel your spine move with that. All right, go the other way. Great. Now let's going to come on to the hands and knees. So let's just explore a little bit of movement from hands and knees. So going back to the stability, whatever is on the floor is supporting you. Yeah. So it's your knees, your toes just relaxing on the floor, your hands are supporting you below your shoulders. Make sure the wrists are comfortable. Try and press the knuckle of the index finger down into the floor. So the mound of the index finger just pressing down so that we spread the weight a little bit more evenly through the palm of the hand, and some of the weight going into the fingers as well. So whenever we do any kind of weight bearing in the hands here, we're just making sure we're not only pressing into the wrist there. So we want to try and really be aware of finding that nice support, especially if we do this regularly, you know, and there's lots of other yoga poses where you take weight into the hands. So we want to really make sure we've got that support. So you can also take the hands a bit further forward if that feels better. And then when you're ready, let's just start to flex and extend and flex and extend the spine. It's our cat pose, so you just breathe in with this. Now you might like to add in a few things here. So as you breathe out, exhaling, sitting back toward the heels, and then coming forward, inhaling, the back will be round to begin with, and then you lift the tailbone, lift the chest, and then exhaling, sitting back again. Now, you might even find you need padding under the knees, so please always use padding like a folded blanket if you need to. The next time you sit back towards the heels, try just sliding the hands a little bit further forward. And then as you lift up, now go slowly with this, just bring, so now the hands are further forward, bring the shoulders now over the wrist. Just try a little bit of weight bearing, very gently lowering the hips towards the floor. So going into upward dog, just see how that feels before you lift the chest. And then if you can, lift the chest, let the shoulders roll back a little bit. Taking the gaze just up, be comfortable, and then draw the tummy into sit back towards the heels. You might change your toe position, perhaps tucking the toes now as you sit back towards the heels. And just see how that feels, taking that weight into the hand. So if we find the upward facing dog pose is not a pose for us, maybe the wrists don't like it or the lower back doesn't like it, it's obviously okay to leave it, and you might just come onto the hands and knees, and then going into the spinal extension just on all fours. But otherwise, one more time if you can in the upward facing dog. Shoulders are all back, maybe even an extra breath there, maybe bring the feet a bit closer. You could even try pushing the feet into the floor, lifting the knees if that's comfortable for you. Breath and then drawing back. And then take the knees a bit wider. Let's sit back to the heels if we can, taking the head to the floor. Finding time to ground in between the movement. Because we are... the little breaks we give ourselves gives us time to just sense whether what we're doing is okay for us. You know, so we're noticing, how does that feel? Yeah, feels okay, great. Because what we sense can change what we might have planned to do, you know. So we're always adapting to how we feel. Feeling and then responding to that. Okay, so let's try a few more things here. So coming up to the knee, so this you might find having a folded blanket here. I've got a bit of padding underneath me, so I think I'm all right on my knees like this. So we're gonna, and also what you might find, obviously it's the video recording, you could pause me, get a couple of blocks. This might be helpful for you. And we're going to come up to kneeling and take one foot forward. So the hands, you don't have to use the blocks, but the hands come to the blocks, or just hands to the floor, and just simply bringing the front knee forward, but without being forceful. So that'll bring quite a big extension into your left hip. So only to where it feels comfortable. And before you start to really pull at that hip, stop, and then you're going to see if you can straighten the leg a little bit, maybe even lifting the toes. So this is where blocks might come in handy, just to, so you can lift the toes. And really with this, it's just about exploring a little bit of hip movement and knee movement. You might even find some of you can walk the hands back, lift the front foot toes, maybe even sitting back to the heel and the front leg straightens out. You know, just exploring. Please obviously just work comfortably, sensibly. So, you know, any knee issues, knee replacements, you're probably not going to be doing this. So, but you could do, you know, just maybe a little bit. Depends on whether you can take weight on the knee or not. Otherwise, you just leave it out. Okay, and then when you come back up again, let's take the left hand into the inside of the right foot, so either on the floor or on a block, and then the right arm is just going to reach out. So we're getting a nice rotation here, reach out and up, let the chest turn, reach the hand up, and then come back again. So let's try that again. So we reach the right arm out and we turn the chest to the right, but feel how we're taking that support through the foot, through the knee, and through that left hand, and then coming back. Another variation of that would be taking the arm forward and up as you turn the chest, and maybe forward and down. It's nice to explore the variations, or even taking that arm around in a nice big circle. Now that just depends on how that feels in the shoulder and whether you've got enough movement in the chest, in the thoracic spine to be able to do that. Next time you take the arm up, reach up. If you're okay there, you can even lift the back knee and toes tucked. Take a breath or two, really feeling that support through the feet, through that left hand. Come out when you need to. Breathe and then bring the hand down. Okay, let's just take a little pause there again. So some sort of child's pose, maybe knees wider, maybe arms forward, head to the floor. A few breaths now. All right, let's try that on the other side. So we'll come up to kneeling. We're going to take the left foot forward. Again, maybe blocks could be helpful, or even, you know, some of you might find even the sort of thicker blocks, depends what you've got really, could be useful. So your front knee comes forward and back, and you just take micro movements if you need to. And remember, we're not trying to force the right hip to really stretch here. You're just gently lowering that hip towards the floor and then moving back, just moving forward and back. Just for the movement, maybe even you can, as you go into that, you might even lift the chest a little bit, especially if you've got blocks. See how far you can take that comfortably. And then sitting back. So again, blocks can be useful if you feel you need them. If you can get to this position, so you might not be able to, but of course you have to go to where you can, you know. Being sensible probably is the word. Being not necessarily cautious, maybe caution can come into it, but it's just sensible, just being sensible with the movements. All right, and then come back to the neutral position at the knee, and then to the central position, and then right hand on the floor. We're going to take the left arm out and up. So again, maybe a block under that right hand can give you more space to turn. But you're noticing as you do this, you're noticing how, particularly here, how that right hand is pressing onto the block or onto the floor, spreading the weight again. You could also try taking the arm in a big circle or half circle. So these variations you might like to explore. So we're finding comfortable movement. Now the next one, you might even hold. If it feels okay, back toes can tuck. You might even lift the back knee. Breathing. Noticing how that feels in the neck. But again, finding that support, finding that stability. And then from there, we're coming down. One last pause here. Okay, so I'm going to transition up to standing. So one way to transition might be to come into the downward facing dog. It's an inversion. You will go upside down. So if you had glaucoma or detached retina, you might not want to do that and just bring yourself straight up to standing. Spreading the fingers a little bit, toes are tucked. We sit back towards the heels. We allow the thighs to lift. The sitting bones and the tailbone up toward the ceiling, lengthening through the arms. Again, being aware of what's supporting you here. Feel where the hands are meeting the floor. Spreading the fingers, finding length through the arms, out through to the sitting bones. Maybe even exploring a little bit of bending one knee, pressing the opposite heel to the floor, or towards the floor. Breathing through the nose. Okay, when you want to come out, walk the hands back or the feet forward and just gradually, slowly begin to uncurl all the way up. Take your time with that. Arms reach up, hands come down the center. Okay, lovely. So, good. So just from here, just one nice thing to do from standing, and this is a nice way to kind of ground yourself as well. So feet about hip width or so. It's very, very soft micro bend at the knees. I'm going to take the arms out and up as you inhale. And as you exhale, you're just going to press the hands down in front of your body. So you're very grounding, little breathing exercise here. Breathing in, arms raised, and breathing out as the hands press down in front. And this will encourage a little bit of a longer exhalation here. Sinking. Doesn't have to be excessively long, just going in your own time with your breath. It's grounding. So you might even feel as the hands sweep across the face that everything in the face relaxes. Shoulders, chest, upper back, abdomen, lower back, hips, knees. Grounding. Any worrying thoughts, anxieties, we might even just imagine that sinking out through the body, down through the body, out through the feet into the earth, dissipating, just allowing the earth to absorb it, ground it, let it go, at least for this moment. Just let go. When we let go, we start to feel lighter, we start to feel more energetic, even by just visualizing your any anxieties as, I don't know, like a grey cloud or something that you're just pushing out through the body and just releasing it, breathing it out, letting it sink into the earth, whatever works for you, because your nervous system reacts to that. Yeah, it reacts to the thoughts. So we visualize it releasing, the nervous system reacts to that. Let's do one more there. Nice and grounding as well. Grounding our energy. Feeling that contact of the feet with the floor. Really feeling that. Good. And then coming to mountain pose. And this is where we might bring the feet a little bit narrower so that now the feet line up with the hip joints. So the ankles, knees line up with the hip joints. So where the thigh bone goes into the hip socket. And here really in mountain pose, it's obviously a very grounding posture, but also we want to feel tall. So let's just explore shifting the weight a little bit forward and back, just to bring more awareness into the feet. And just noticing any changes in the muscles in the body as you shift the weight forward and back. And then try going from side to side. Just feeling the weight shifting. And then try going round in a circle. But keeping the body straight. So circling around, just sensing, just trying to pick up the information that's going on in the feet there. And then go the other way, and how the body might react to that as well. The body's always looking to find balance, of course. So the muscles, when you lean too much one way or the other, then the muscles start to hold you to bring you upright. And that's sometimes what we do habitually. We might lean more to one side or lean forward, and muscles are responding to that, and we find tension in the body. So just by finding that nice alignment, now coming back to center, where we have in the feet that balance, I should say, in the feet between center of the heel, ball of the big toe, ball of the little toe. We find that balance, like you can almost gently push into those 3 points to find a lift. So we yield, we allow ourselves to sink down into the feet, but without collapsing, and then a little bit of pushing there to find that rebound, that lift through the center without propping, without over tightening. And then we let go of the effort. So that might help us find this balance between sinking but also lifting, or apana energy, the sinking, and prana energy, the lifting, the rising up. And we find that nice balance. Now from there, let's just take the arms out and up. So you might inhale as you do that, floating the arms up, and then exhale, taking the arms down. And try that now going on to the tiptoes if you can. Shift the weight forward, bring the arms up, lift the heels. I'm going out of the screen now, I think. and then coming down. All right, try that a few times. So you're taking one of those supports in the feet away. Notice how your muscles in the body react to that. Maybe even pausing for a moment. Breathe, keep the breath flowing. Let's try one more. All right, good. And then come back to mountain pose. Now we're then going to Utkatasana, it's called. So it's the chair pose. So it's like you're about to sit back into a chair or a stool, and your feet again are hip width apart. And we'll just, if you bend the knees just for a moment, have a look at your knees. Ideally the knees line up with the toes. We don't want the knees going out or in, just letting the knees line up with the toes. Now, you might start with hands on the hips, and take a bit of time here just to notice the back of the neck. Keep the back of the neck just nice and long, so not excessively long, but just in a sort of neutral position, as though the chin is just very slightly retracted and the throat feels fairly hollow. And keeping that awareness there as you sit back, like into your imaginary stool, the spine ideally stays fairly neutral, and the movement is really in the legs here. The spine is just tipping forward, going along for the ride really. But nice and relaxed around the base of the skull. You might even take the arms out in front. So we're going in and out. As you go in and out, you might, you can go even lower if you feel able to. When you go lower, of course, your lower back is going to go a little bit more into a flexion there. So Utkatasana is a nice strengthening pose. So here we're kind of going into squats, but when you hold it, you'll be in a kind of half squat. The weight will come a little bit more toward the heels. The back of the neck is in that neutral, slightly lengthened position with the chin retracted a little bit. And you might even find that the sound of Ujjayi breathing starts to happen. A little support there from a gentle squeeze at the pelvic floor will probably engage the deep transversus abdominis muscles, which are your deepest layer of abdominal muscles. If it feels okay to hold, you might sink a little bit more. Obviously a lot of work for the thighs, but great for ankle and knee stability. Come out when you need to. Notice how the breath changes as well. You won't be talking, hopefully, as you're doing this, so I might get out of breath because I'm talking, trying to do it, but focus on your breath. Nice, smooth, steady breath. The breath will quicken, it's natural, it has to, but keep the breath flowing. Last one, you could, if you like, try with the arms raised all the way up. Now that's going to bring much more effort into the back muscles. So if that feels too much, just arms out in front, but again, keeping the neck, back of the neck relaxed. So we're keeping the spine fairly neutral, sinking, gentle squeeze of pelvic floor. Find that nice position where you can just hold for a moment. Remember to come out when you feel you need to. So if your back of the neck starts to get tight, or your lower back, it's time to come out. Otherwise you can let the legs work, let the glutes work a little bit more. Breathing, last breath now. And then just tip forward into a forward bend, let the lower back release, let the head hang down. You can jiggle it out a little bit. And I'm going to uncurl up. Great. And then even raising the arms. And hands down the centre. Good. And you might like to have a little soft turn there now. Good. Alright, so Utkatasana. It can be a nice one for working with, finding some nice strength in the legs, making us feel strong and stable. And we always want those glutes and those legs to be nice and strong, So let's come to the front of the mat. So speaking of strength, we're looking at warrior pose, warrior 2. So just taking the time to find, again, mountain pose. Yield, let go, sink your energy, feel that contact with the earth, but then find that rebound, find that lift through to the center. When you're ready, shift the weight into that right foot. Just take a pause there as you feel the weight going down the right hip, down into the right foot, lifting the left heel and then the toes, and as slow as you can, reach back with your left foot so the toe and the ball of the foot and the heel comes to the floor, and then adjust your feet so that without having to look, you feel like you couldn't be pushed over. If someone came to you and they kind of lightly pushed you, obviously if they give you a big shove you probably would fall, but if they lightly pushed you, you shouldn't be able to fall over. So we find steadiness. The pelvis will be slightly turned to the left, and we're going to just bend the front knee a little bit and keeping the back leg reasonably straight there. You're bending the front knee, back leg is straight as much as you can. And as you do this, the front hip, knee, ankle aligns. And then notice you'll feel probably a little bit of a pull at the inner back hip. But again, we're not trying to force anything here. We just get to the edge of that stretch. We're just moving in and out here at the moment. Okay, and pelvis stays in a neutral position, so sitting bones pointing toward the floor. All right, so let's just from there take the arms up and out and wide. Be long through the back of the neck. Have a little look around to the left and right. You might find that as you reach your right arm forward, your left arm draws back and your chest turns a little bit to the left. But try and stay nice and open across the chest. But also check that there's no tension gathering in the back of the neck. Especially here if you're looking forward on the right side of the neck. Feel the strength in the body, holding the arms up, holding you in this position. Remember to come out when you need to. Feel nice and rooted, nice and grounded. Make adjustments to ease off in areas that might overdo the work, so the upper trapezius around the top of the shoulders going into the neck. Keep the breath flowing, keep the balance in those 3 points of the feet. And last breath, when you want to come out, release the arms and then shift the weight into the front foot. Take that weight and then step forward back to mountain pose. Take a little pause, breathe and notice what feels different. In the 2 feet, you might feel a difference even in the feet. In the legs, hips, maybe even in the neck or the shoulders. And now let's shift the weight to the left foot, let the right heel lift. Feel the weight coming into that left hip, and then we're going to lift the the right foot, and then reaching back. The upper body leans forward as a counterbalance. Toe, ball of the foot, heel comes to the floor. Find that position where now your pelvis is slightly turned to the right, so the right hip is further back than the left, but when you bend the left knee, left hip, knee and ankle line up, and the back leg stays straight. And we try to make adjustments. There's always little adjustments we can make so that we're not compressing the back, we're not compressing the neck. Spine is just really neutral. So finding that it's like you're plugging into the earth. Those 3 points, plug in. That gives you this lift. Take the arms up. Expand out, roll the shoulders back, keep the shoulders down away from the ears, palms turned down. Reaching forward, forward with that left arm, back with the right arm. That'll turn the chest a little bit, but stay nice and open across the front of the chest. Check that the neck, we're not tipping the head back, squashing the back of the neck. Sometimes that happens when we try to bring that front arm too far forward, you know, and then the back of the neck tightens. So relax around the back of the neck. Roll the shoulders back a little bit. Even if you need to, you could keep the hands on the hips here, keeping the legs still doing the work. You might also allow the arms, upper arms and the back of the shoulders to work here a bit. Finding expansion and space in the body. Breathing, coming out when you need to. Last breath. And then when you're ready, step through, come back to the center. And do whatever you need to release. So it might be a little forward bend, let's say, or a soft turn. One more standing pose. Okay, let's come up. Good. Have a little turn. Okay, so let's do one more standing posture. This is tree pose. There's a tree behind me. So we're gonna root and we're gonna grow tall. So let's find mountain pose first. Find those 3 points in the feet, in the bottom of the feet. Spread the toes, plant the toes down. Grow roots. Imagine you're rooting, growing roots deep into the earth, going wide. Shift the weight into your right foot. I'll mirror you here. Just allow your left heel to lift for a moment so you can feel the weight. Notice how your center of gravity shifts. As soon as you lift the heel, the center of the gravity shifts. So the head, the spine and everything starts to come over that right hip. And then you're going to try and cross the left ankle over the right. So this version, a very basic version, toes can be on the floor to begin with as we then raise the arms. Reaching up, maybe even lifting the toes now, finding that steadiness. And here again, just checking that we're not tensing up through the back of the neck or the throat or the face, forehead. And we're comfortable. We're rooting down, growing those roots deep and wide. We're reaching up, reaching the trunk and the branches up towards the light. Okay, when you feel like you want to come out of it, you might like holding this, quite a good one to hold, but make sure again that we're not building up tension around the neck, throat, jaw. So you can even soften the arms a little bit if you like. Okay, when you're ready to come out, bringing the hands down, bringing the foot back, carefully, slowly with control, coming back, and we're back to our mountain pose. Let's shift the weight to the left foot, right heel lifts. Feel how, as you start to take the weight off the foot, the weight shifts over. You can cross the shin, take the arms up, reach up as you root. So you're rooting and growing tall. Soften around the jaw, face. Finding that stability, grounding, feeling connected to the earth. Feeling present. Not being so rigid, soften in areas where you can soften. Come out when you need to. Put back. Relax the arms. Okay. That's it, let's take the arms out, have a nice turn here, from side to side. Okay, so let's go to the floor. We're going to quieten things down now. So we can just go into child's pose. You might, whichever child's pose feels good for you. So you might have to take the hands forward or hands under the head or even the arms down by the side if you can manage child pose. If you can't manage child's pose, then lying on the side, hugging in the knees can be a nice alternative, or even just lying on the back, hugging in the knees. If you can, forehead to the floor, or if not, hands under the forehead, or a block or cushion. Forehead in contact with the floor gives us, again, that nice sense of feeling grounded, feeling present. Just focusing on this present moment. Anything else at this point doesn't matter. Okay, and then you can bring yourself up and just lying on the floor. We're going to just move into a rotation. So just for a couple of breaths, you can let your feet be about hip width, let's say, and we'll lower the knees to the right, head to the left. And if you want, you could even bring the knees a bit higher, as long as that feels comfortable. And feel the breath in the lungs in that twisted position. Knees come back to center and then over to the other side. You can like I was saying, you can either keep the feet wide or maybe even bring the feet together and the knees a bit higher. It depends on your comfort. And breathe in. Great, and then come on to the back. You're going to have 5 minutes of just lying down now. So, Shavasana, when you lie down, like you were in the beginning, just find that comfortable position. Use whatever props, whatever supports you might need, and maybe under the knees, like a rolled blanket or a block, yoga block or cushion under the head. And then let the eyes close. Take a nice deep breath in. And then as you exhale, just let go and sink. And notice again where your body meets the earth. And allow your body weight to surrender. And notice, is it any easier to let go here compared to the beginning? Can you completely let go of the weight of the head? So the facial muscles relax. The neck relaxes. Let go of the weight of the arms. And you'll find the shoulders will relax. The upper back. Chest. Feel the spine on the floor and the pelvis. Allow the whole length of the spine and pelvis to release. And feel the weight of the legs on the floor and the feet. And allow the weight of the legs to release. Noticing your breath. Sinking with each out breath. But staying present in the mind by noticing this. So very slowly and gradually you can start to bring some movement back now. And you can take your time, but when you're ready, just coming upright to a seated position. And I'm just going to finish with mudra for the element of earth. So this is joining the ring finger and the thumb together, the other fingers extended. And we're going to chant the bija mantra, so the seed mantra for this element, which is lam. So lam, it's spelled L-A-M, but pronounced lam like this. Now I'll chant it 3 times. You can chant if you like with me or just listen. At some point my microphone might not pick up the sound, especially when you get to the humming bit. So it's just lam 3 times, focusing on the qualities of earth. When you're ready, let's take a nice deep breath in. So through connecting with the element of earth, we can find a practice that helps us to stay grounded and to stay present and to find stability. So thank you for joining me today. We'll finish with the hands at the heart center and bowing your head towards your heart. Namaste.